nice to see you all. There was a guy called Martin supposed to be here, I think. He was supposed to interview me. Hello, Martin. Hello, Sylvester. Sylvester, how long have you been acting? Too long, a lot of critics say. All right. When are you going to retire? Soon. Never. But actually, as he's not here, and you're all here, why don't we come down, and anyone who wants to ask me a question, just put the hand up and I'll come and answer it. So, you know, I said, oh, no one wants to ask me a question? Okay, bye. Right, way over here. It would be a way over there. It's never near. Every time I do it, it's never near.
I have a question. Do you have a...
Oh, so that's why I came.
I just thought I'd ask, do you have a favorite other doctor?
Me. I can say other doctor because I've actually played two doctors. I'm the one actor who has played Doctor Who number 6 because I stood in for Colin Baker. He didn't turn up for the regeneration, so they got me. And as you know, Colin's a rather large human being, or alien from Gallifrey. Anyway, he didn't turn up, so they put him in his costume and they lost me for 3 days. And then they stuck a wig on my head, and you know, it was all curly, and you know, I looked like Harpo Marx. Anyway, I'm the only actor who's played 2 doctors. To answer your question, Patrick Troughton was my first doctor, and generally, most of the time, not always, your first doctor tends to be the one that kind of hooks you to the Who world, universe, and that becomes the one that you think of most. But there's someone here wearing a fez. Do you know I was the first doctor to wear a fez?
Yes.
Yeah, the Silver Nemesis, the 25th anniversary, 25 years ago. I ended up finding the fez and the mop and put it, just for a few seconds, wore the fez and played with the mop. And then 25 years later, they brought it back. It takes a long time for things to seep in.
What's your favorite villain in Doctor Who?
Favorite villain, isn't that a contradiction in terms? It's the one I hate most. My favorite villain, well, I didn't really think I was the proper doctor until I worked with the Daleks. I think they were the ones that, when I really started working with them, I thought, yes, I've arrived, I am Doctor Who. They wanted me to blow them up, and I said, no, I will not blow up the Daleks. My doctor is not that. He uses his brain, not his brawn. That's Ace's job. She can blow them up. But in revenge, the writer of that particular story wrote this very long, complicated speech for me to say, so that actually I wouldn't blow up the Dalek. I would just talk it to death. That was his revenge, because it was easier just to get a bazooka and go boof. No, I had to talk one to death. But the other ones that really, I think the ones I have worked with are the Weeping Angels. They frighten the life out of me. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to don't blink. Sorry. Don't blink, and then you keep staring at them. Yeah, I thought that was it, because I was in Uppsala, which is Sweden, a month ago or so, and there I was walking, it was night time, and I saw this light shining up into a church steeple, and I looked up, and there was a weeping angel. And I was walking around like this, you know, the Swedes were knocking me down in their car and everything. It was all very dangerous. But anyway, that's the one that really does freak me out, is the weeping angels. I come down here because you want to ask a question.
I do. Going from Doctor Who to The Hobbit, what are the biggest differences that you found with the fandom and stuff?
Well, the biggest difference was 26 years, really.
Radagast the Brown.
Radagast the Brown. Radagast the Brown. Well, there is a big difference. One is bird poo. There's not a lot of bird poo in Doctor Who. I like your outfit, by the way. It reminds me of someone. I can't think who it is. I suppose what I mean is when I did Doctor Who, it was great, one of the great jobs. But then when I ended up 26 or 8 years later doing Radagast the Brown, Why did you got both hands up? I'm not going to shoot you. I know you were warned never to go out, you know, with pointing those things at people, otherwise drive-by shooters might come and go get you. You want to ask a question?
Yes. What is your favorite companion out of all the doctors?
Oh, my favourite companion of all the doctors, well, it has to be both my companions, Mel and Ace, were my favourite companions, really. I mean, I have to say that anyway, because they're great friends. I mean, Sophie and Bonnie are still great friends, and that's a lovely costume, but it's the wrong doctor. They look great. Are you going to eat that afterwards? That's, is that what it's for? You're hungry? Yeah, well, but I think that Rose Tyler, I think she was a great companion. I would like to have had her as a companion. Although I think that she's a continuation of Ace. Ace was the new companion. When they said you're going to have a new companion, I said, I don't want a screamer. I don't want someone going, and all that stuff. So when after working with Sophie for a while, I started screaming. No, I'm lying. But anyway, so I think, you know, Rose Tyler is a continuation of that character, Ace. And it was the one disappointment I had when I was working with the Ace character was that she wasn't allowed to use her own street accent, you know, because, I mean, coming from Perryville, she would have talked a bit like that, you know, she would have been that kind of Cockney, slightly North London way of talking. But she wasn't allowed to do that by the producer, so that was the only thing that Ace didn't have. And then when Rose Tyler arrived, she was perfect, 100%. The girl from the streets, which I thought was great.
In Celestial Circus, you did some magic tricks. Do you really do magic, or was that staged?
Close your eyes. In the various jobs I did in the theatre, I did some magic tricks. You know, I learned the odd magic trick here and there for various different jobs, and we just put them all together and added a few for that one. Well, I did work with a magician who taught me some other bits of magic, but I understood the language of, you know, how magicians work, so I was quite quick in picking them up. The only problem was that they wrote a scene where it says, and you juggle, and I said, but I don't juggle. They said, of course you juggle. Your career, you must be able to juggle. I said, no, I don't juggle. Anyway, I had to go learn how to juggle. And I had this back garden, and I mean, juggling balls is all right, you can get them, you know, once, but it's this, you know, the sticks, juggling with them, it's really difficult, because they keep running away from you. And you're going up and down the garden going, oh bleep, oh bleep, oh bleep. My neighbours must have thought, what's going on? The language is coming over the fence. That kind of stuff. No, it was, that was hard to learn, but I managed to do it just, you know, for the screen.
What was your favorite story, both either television or Big Finish?
Well, the thing about Big Finish is, it's very difficult to remember those really, because we only do them in 2 days, we don't have to learn them, and we just read them, and, you know, they've gone once we've done them. So, although I did enjoy working with some amazing actors in Big Finish, but my favourite story, well, you see, I look at it very differently from an audience. You watch it from the outside. I was in it. I knew it. So I perceive it in a very, very different way. One that does stick to mind is survival. In that one, we were filming in a heat wave, which is very unusual in Britain. But we had a heat wave, it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and we were filming in what I call the desert of Dorset, which is a big sand pit, huge sand pit, but it was like being in the desert. And when we were filming it, it was like making a spaghetti western, something I'd always wanted to do. So there was quite a lot of joy in doing it. I got to ride a horse and all that kind of stuff. But the girls who were all dressed up in as the cat people, they had this terrible fur on, fun fur all over, and then makeup and, you know, whiskers and ears, and the heat was terrible, and the BBC didn't give us any shade. Sophie and I were all right, because we just put up my umbrella, you know, to hell with everyone else. But anyway, it was really difficult. This is a cat person there, look, stand up, there was a cat person just like that. Anyway, she was one of them completely freaked out. She couldn't take the heat anymore. This was it. I cannot bear. She was screaming, I can't bear it. And so she ripped off her costume, and the last thing we saw was her running over sand dunes in the deserts of Dorset. But the thing is, she forgot. She was only wearing a thong. And for some reason, that one sticks in my mind.
If you could change costumes with any of the other doctors, which one would you pick?
All right, yes, well, it wouldn't be Doctor Who number 6. Although I think it works now, but it was kind of weird then. Where's what I change? I'm not sure really. I suppose, Christopher Eccleston, the one with the leather jacket, the jeans and things like that, that was quite cool. But I think maybe the next Doctor, he should have a kilt. A kilt would be really good. Coming out of the TARDIS. Oh my God, where the bleep armour? Oh, I love this bleeping planet. That kind of thing. Because he's a Scot, isn't he? I'm a Scot too, and David Tennant, you might be surprised to know, is a Scot. I'm wondering why there's so many Scots end up as Doctor Who. And I think I've got this, my theory might be this. In Glasgow, there is a TARDIS, a permanent TARDIS from the old days, a real one. And on a Friday night, Glaswegians like a bevy or two. They're like the odd beer and a bit of whiskey and, I belong to Glasgow, dear old Glasgow town. There's nothing the matter with Glasgow set, it's going in the ruin. I'm only a common old working chap, as only one here can see. But when I get a couple of pints on a Saturday, Glasgow belongs to me. So they're in there. They come out of the pub. Hey, come on, Tommy! And they forget to pay the electricity bill. Hello? Who's in charge of the lights? Did someone just lean on the lights at the back? Hello? I was light. Hey, they're coming out of the pub. They're all a wee bit drunk. And they come out and they're going, oh, come on, Jimmy. Let me in, I want to be the next Doctor Who. Come on. Again, the door opens and a hand comes out and whoosh, another Scotsman becomes Doctor Who. That's what
fellow actors you worked with, who was most enjoyable to work with?
Well, fellow actors. That's terribly English way of saying. Terribly fellow actors. Yes, well, I enjoy working with all sorts of actors. Bob Hoskins comes to mind, sad because he just died. He was a great mate of mine. And he was the very first professional actor I worked with. When I got my first job, it was Bob and I were kind of like a double act. And I didn't go to drama school, I was just picked off the street. I was begging before that. Hello? Nine? Hello? Who's saying that? I thought this was America. I thought you went to the moon. The microphone doesn't work. Okay, can you hear me? Anyway, yes. Oh, what were we saying? Yeah, acting. Oh, yes. Well, Bob. Yeah, as I said, I hadn't trained, and so I worked with Bob Hoskins, and he was very physical, very funny, and I tried to emulate him. And so I suppose, in a way, he fits that answer to that question. Right. Who else? What's the text of the slave driver? Or did he have the surgery show about it? Yes? No? Yes? No, he's not. He wasn't quite a slave driver. But he did, he was such a nice guy, you'd do it for him anyway. So he didn't have to slave drive, he just did it. He had this great job. Has a great job. We worked with him for 3 years. And he was the boss. I did what he said. He did all this stuff. And then on the very last day of filming, he made speeches for every actor that finished their last day of filming. And he made a lovely speech for working with me all these years. And then he gave me my staff, a present, some wine from the hobby. abandoned me, haven't they, the people who run this place? Anyway, microphone, no, anyway. So, yeah, 3 years. And yet that was it, never mentioned Doctor Who all the way through those 3 years. Because he ended up in the Irish Doctor's reboot. Anyone seen that? Any others that should watch it? I think it's coming out on, it's going to be an appendix to Matt Smith's last series, you know, when they bring it all out together on DVD. We're in there somewhere. Right, I'm going to be here to speak to a cat. How is he cat? Do I think many times are cold? Yes. What do I think my funniest scene would be in the whole movie? The whole series? Well, the movie could be Hobbit. Are you talking about the Hobbit or are you talking about Doctor Who? Doctor Who. My funniest scene? I never had any funny scenes, they're all serious. I'm not a comedy actor, I'm a serious actor. I can't really think, offhand. I'll walk around and maybe it'll come to me, and if I remember, I'll answer your question. I'll sick how to you too, sir. I know the Germans came over here to build a rocket, but I didn't know they were still around.
How is it you remember your lines every time on your Big Finish CDs? It's so complicated when you remember them.
Well, remembering my lines on Big Finish is very easy because we just read them. The easiest ones to remember. Remembering the other lines on this filming, you know, the actual TV one, we had to learn those. And I was a sly little fellow. I was going to say something else, but I shan't. Anyway, I was sly. What happened was that I knew I had to learn all this gobbledygook because some of it, all this scientific stuff, and it's all real, and it has to be precise because it's, you know, it's real. And so I thought, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Every so often I've got to learn these long speeches. Then I come up with this real wheeze. I thought, I know, because Sophie Ace is, you know, going through the universe when we're not on the screen with me in the TARDIS, and we're flying about all over, and so I said, oh, we're dimming down. It's like them launching another rocket or something. Anyway, oh, it's nice and cozy now, isn't it? Oh, that's up, down. It's a game, isn't it? Anyway, that's why I thought, yeah, so we're off from this universe, our University of the Universe, I call it. And therefore, every time we come back, Sophie has learned something and is becoming more and more educated. And therefore, by the time we come back, sometimes I can turn her to her. So when I had a long speech, I'd say half of it, and then turn to Ace and say, and what do you think, Ace? And then Sophie would have to learn the other half of the speech. I mean, I was really big. I don't know why I'm doing this, I just like it. I could equally just use this one. Yeah. Hello, yes, that's it. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yes. You're going to ask a question? No?
Oh, okay.
Do you think the series is gonna go on as long as the old series?
Do I think, yeah, Doctor Who, it's alive. Well, I think it might. I think it's got a rather, I mean, I didn't think it would survive 50 years when I got to 25 years, but I didn't have that concept really, but it has. Although it did come off for a bit, but some people think maybe it was a good thing it came off because it gave it, you know, a new way of thinking about it, bringing it back. The new technologies. I think it will go on. It's a very good formula for, you know, every now and again you just get rid of the actor and get another one. Maybe it'd be an actress, who knows? Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if it continued for a long time. I hope it does.
I hope
You know, you have a comedic background, but your portrayal had a bit of an edge, you know, a little bit of a acerbic edge. Do you think, you see a lot of comedic actors playing more serious roles now. Do you think that's a benefit of having that humorous background, being able to pull that, you know, kind of edge out without being too menacing or hard about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing about comedy is it's the other side of the coin is misery. And I think quite a lot of comic actors are very good at playing much more miserable places, miserable job things. Yeah. So I think it hopefully it does help. And it also is an actor. Being comic is acting, so it's just acting only with the darker side, really.
How come there was never any hanky between the doctor?
How do you know? Have you been inside that TARDIS? Oh, the tales I could tell. Well, yes, in those days there was no hanky-panky because it started off, as you may remember, with, a grandfather and a granddaughter. The companion was the granddaughter. The first doctor was her grandfather. So, it was a kind of a tradition. And also the doctor was older and the companion was younger in those days. Well, I know it doesn't matter, here in America, but I've seen some of those millionaires and those blondes, I'm 125 and this is my wife. She's 17 or 18 or something like that. But it was just, it never came up. It wasn't, and also because the companion was younger, the doctor was older. It was only when they brought in the younger doctors that, it started to change, and then hanky-panky arrived. I have no idea what's going to happen when Peter Capaldi takes over. Because, he's the oldest actor to actually play the part, And, I don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe they'll just get an older actor or something. Or maybe they'll just go back to the days before hanky-panky was invented.
What's your favorite part to play besides?
Well, I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parts. 40 years of acting. I loved playing the judge in the Caucasian Chalk Circle, if anyone knows that. It's a great part, and the politics of the play are wonderful as well. I loved that. Recently, I did the Fool in King Lear, and that's one of the great Shakespearean roles. It's work a bit, doesn't it? Oh, you have to stick it down your throat to get it out. Yeah, the companion, I was the guy that I played, who played King Lear. You might not have heard of him, but his name was Ian McKellen. And that's how I got the job as Renegast the Proud, because we toured the world doing King Lear, and we ended up in New Zealand, and I met Peter Jackson and his family and all that stuff. So I'm just going to make you uncomfortable. I like discombobulating you all. So I like that one. Many other roles. An Evening with Sylvester McCoy, the Human Bomb. That's where I enjoyed playing that role. That was where I got my name. I'm not the real McCoy. It's a stage name, and I got it from that particular role.
Hi, I just want to say you're wonderful.
You can say that.
And I wanted to know how you felt about the Five-ish Doctors and doing that, getting everyone involved, and so many different things going on, and just what that experience was like for you.
Well, yes, the Five-ish Doctors, well, that was, it was...
It was brilliant.
She said it was brilliant. Well, how it came about was that for years before, the last 3 or 4 years, everywhere around the world, all we 20th century doctors used to hear from the audiences, are you going to be in the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who? And we thought, everybody wants it to happen, so we thought, yes, most likely it will happen, because the fans want it, and they should get what they want for the 50th anniversary at least. So, then we came to last year, the beginning, and realised that we weren't going to be in it. And so Peter, Davidson, who had actually made a couple of little films for the fans before, very witty, funny little films, apologised. One was he was supposed to go to Gallifrey, and he couldn't make it because he was in a musical in the West End, so he made a little film for them, and it was very witty and funny. And then the next year, made another film for them, apologising that he couldn't come again. He was lying that time because he was there. He was actually hiding in the box. And so they showed it up there, and they were all watching it saying, so I'm sorry, I can't make it. And then he walks past the exhibition and goes into the TARDIS there and says, oh, I wonder if this will work. And he goes in and closes the door, and the next minute he comes out live in LA. So it was very witty. It was a very witty little, lovely film. And he showed me that and he said, I'd quite like to make a film of us trying to break into the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. What do you think? And I said, yeah, let's do it. And we did. And so over the year, Colin, Peter, Paul, myself and others got together on our days off or when we were in town. I mean, there was one where I had to give up breakfast in Paris to come back because Paul McGann could only be in London that day, and so I came back. I gave up so much. Breakfast in Paris, you know, just to go back and meet Paul McGann. I mean, I know you'd like to meet Paul McGann. I mean, he's a bloke. He's not anyway. Do you know what they did? When I did that film, the Paul McGann, no, not the Paul McGann film, the Sylvester McCoy Paul McGann film. When I did that, they took photographs of us and they stuck him in a box. He's not taller than me. He's in a box. He's a dwarf just like me as well. So we got together and we did bits, and then Peter said, could you ask Peter Jackson, you know, to do a little scene? Because what would be great is that if you abandon The Hobbit in order to come back and try and break into the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. And so I went to Peter Jackson and said, would you do this? He said, yeah, I'll do that. And he said, and I'll get Ian McKellen to do it as well. Although having seen the scene, I regret he got Ian McKellen. Those that haven't seen it will understand when they watch it.
If there's anything you may have learned from the Doctor during your time with him?
Anything I've learned from the Doctor during my time with him? Yeah, how to juggle. How to, I don't know, save the universe. I do it regularly now in my dreams. Get out of the pub, have a few beers, and then I go out and save the universe.
Out of all the different TARDIS interiors, which one had to be your favorite?
Oh, my favourite is the one that I had in my, it's my interior. It's not Paul McGann's interior, because I was in it first. I gave it to Paul McGann. That was my favourite. I always liked steampunk, and I always wanted that kind of world. I remember Walt Disney's 200,000 Leagues Under the Sea or something like that. I loved that world, that the set there, and always thought that's how I'd like my interior to be. So I was absolutely delighted that I got it by default, really. I ended up having it. And so I was very pleased. So that was my favourite one. I'm not sure about the later one, the living one. It's a bit yucky. Breathing, living TARDIS.
Who's your favorite writer in Doctor Who?
Andrew Cartmel. My favourite writer. Yeah, I suppose Andrew was great because he wrote the audition pieces I did for the screen test, and then we ended up using one of those in when Mel left. They just had Mel leaves, goodbye, and I said, you can't do that. She can't leave because she's been with the Doctor, not my Doctor necessarily, but the other Doctor as well. For a time, there's a great bond there. We need to do, and I suggested we did the scene I did for the screen test, and we kind of. And Andrew asked the writer of that particular one if it was all right, and said, yeah, use it, so we used that. No, Andrew was very, I liked his stuff. But also, he was the script editor of all of it, really. It was his influence that, you know, got it to change its course and become a little darker, more mysterious, and more dangerous.
Do you have any more stories about what it was like getting the part of Radagast and what it's like being part of two prestigious groups, now being both a Doctor and one of the Astari?
One of the Astari. Astari. Oh, how getting Radagast? Well, yes, I mean, it all happened once upon a time. Many, many years ago. I think about 12, 13, 14 years ago. I was